So I wanted to give you a walkthrough for PS3, Practice Set 3. There were some problems with people's projects and building Java projects instead of Maven projects, and then parking files in the wrong places, not doing proper builds. And instead of answering 1,000 different answers of why things aren't working, it's easier to honestly just to do a walkthrough. So I open up Eclipse. I have a blank workspace. Let me close some of the stuff I don't need. And here we are. Now, I'm going to go out to Sakai, and I'm going to sign on. I'm going to go out to our site. Whether you're in section 10 or 11, it's the same stuff. All right, go to Maven. All right, so now I'm going to create a new other Maven project. Click Next. We're not dealing with archetypes for this class. It's a long story, but we're going to use a simple archetype, so click this box. For the group by dates, it just has to be unique. I'm going to say cisc.cisc181.edu. And this is, I think, PS3, so I'll call it PS3. Don't make any other changes. Click Finish. Now this will give you an archetype an archetype Maven project. All right. So, and the pom.xml, there's really nothing in it. So we've got to do a little bit of surgery, if you will. I'm going to go over to the properties file that's copied there. I'm going to open up with Notepad, copy it all, go back into Eclipse. I'm going to paste it right after the version tag. I'm going to save it, give it a yes, change my font so you guys can see what the heck I'm doing here. Got it. Okay. So, POM's there. It's all there. We're all good. Now, right-click the project. Go to Maven. Update project. Click OK. You notice the JDK is now pointing to Java 1.8. That's a good thing. And I've got 4 blank folders. Source main Java, source main resources, source test Java, source test resources. Now, the deal is, well, let's start with the assignment itself. I have it on split screen. I'm not recording the second screen, but you have the assignment. It says the account class, design the account class that contains. Okay, so over in source main Java, I'm going to create a class called account, and in the package I'm going to call it PKG main. How about PKG account? Sweet. Count class is an int field for ID. Private int ID. Next. Private double for balance. Private double for annual interest rate. And it says that the default is 0, so that's cool. Equals 0. And the default for that one is 0. And the default for ID is 0. All right. Missed those two things. Okay. So private date field, name date created. There we go. Private date. There we go. Private date created. Okay. And then the date class I could probably import from Java util. Let's take a peek. Yep. Don't worry about the SQL one. It's a Java util date. And let's say a nowhere constructor that creates a default account. So that's a public account. That's that. A constructor that creates an account with specified ID and bounds. Now on this one, I'm going to go right click, say source, create constructor using fields. She's saying ID and balance, was it? I'm looking for it. An initial balance, okay. Constructor that creates an account with ID and initial balance. There's two things there. I click OK. Constructor's created for me. An accessor and mutator, setter and getter, mutator method for balance, ID, and annual interest rate. Alright, so generate setters and getters. That's the balance, annual interest rate, and ID, both setters and getters. They're there. An accessor method for date created, in other words, a getter. So source, getters and setters, date created, give me just the getter. Alright. And then a method named get monthly interest rate, which will return the monthly interest rate. Cool. So I say public double, and that's going to return this dot annual interest rate divided by 12. Done. And add a withdrawal method and a deposit method. Excellent. So I'm going to say public double withdrawal. Actually, probably double amount. Do I need to return anything from withdrawal? Yeah, I better return double. And this one, without any checks so far, is just going to be return. Let's see. Let me think about this. I'm going to say this dot balance equals plus equals, excuse me, minus equals amount. Turn this dot balance. I'll do it. And then deposit public double. Deposit doesn't need to return anything. I'm going to return account. In case they want to use it, I'll say this dot balance plus equals amount. Up here I'll say return. Here I'll say return this. Makes everybody happy. Okay, so I think I got it. It says the date created that stores the date when the account was created. Let me pause for a second. I'll get that code. I don't want to hold you hostage. I'll be right back. Well, I think I got it. It's date equals new date. That seems easy enough, but I don't know for sure yet. I'll find out when we get down to testing. I'll figure it out there. So I've got an account. I've got my stuff. I didn't run any exceptions yet. All I did was do the withdrawal balance and deposit. Well, now I'm going to go and create another class, another exception class. And I'm going to call this under PKG exceptions. And I called it insufficient funds exception, right? Where is that at? Insufficient funds exception. Call it that without the quotes around it. Cool. It extends the exception class. We're going to do that. And try that. Okay. Well, let's see. Insufficient funds exception. These are the different constructors I could use. Yeah, I don't want to use all these. How about just this for now? Okay. So the insufficient funds exception, let's capture a couple things. So I'm going to say private account A, private double amount. AMT, how about that? Account, I'm going to import it, okay? And in this, I'm going to account A, double AMT. And here I'm going to say this dot A equals A, this dot AMT equals AMT. I'll give you a getter for both of those. Source, generate getters and setters. Not the setter, just the getter. There we go. Not the setter, just the getter. Done. And I like it. So save that. I'll put that on my clipboard. Forgot it spelled right, hopefully. Come back over here. I'm going to say for withdrawal, if this dot balance is less than AMT. If that's the condition, you can't withdraw, right? You can't withdraw more than you have. That's what that's saying. So, throw new this AMT. Had to import that from pack exceptions. And now it's going to say, hey, you're trying to do a throw, but you don't have any kind of try, catch around it or throws declaration. When you raise an exception, you can either handle it or throw it. I'm going to throw it. It's going to add the throws declaration to my withdrawal. Awesome. I said in the class, you probably may want to do the same thing for deposit. So deposit, what if they give me a negative amount? It should probably throw an exception as well. Well, instead of insufficient funds, and I'm just refactoring here. If I went to insufficient funds, let's change this and say, I'm looking for a refactor. It's here somewhere. There it was. Refactor, and I'm going to call it account exception. This will go through and change all the places that I'm using it, including there that I made it, right? So in this one now, account exception, I'm going to have, I may do something like overdraw, and then negative. Something crazy like that. Okay, and I don't like. Okay, it's failed on this. Okay, so now it's saying that. There we go. See what I'm doing with this? I have to import this. Account exceptions. Isn't that the thing? Did I save it this way? There we go. Try that. Can I import that? Let's see. Package enum. I could say import. Sweet. Give me another getter for that. Source, getters and setters. Give me that enum. Done. And save that. Go back over here. Comma. I want to see this pop up again. New account exception. This AMT, comma. On a withdrawal, it's overdraw. How do you like that? Do I got close? Change the constructor so it should be looking for that double. Oh, you know what? It's not looking for this. It's looking for. There we go. Got it. And then in this one, now I don't have to have another exception type. I could just send the exception type as an attribute of the exception, right? So I could say if AMT is less than 0, less than or equal to 0. And what was this one? I'm going to say dot negative deposit. And it's going to bark at me because I'm not doing a throw. Do a throw around it. Oh, sweet. I've got account. I've got withdrawal. The rest of it looks good. Nothing fails from compile. I think we're in pretty darn good shape.